For 6 long hours, the interrogation room remained silent. No anger, no fear, no denial. Just a man sitting motionless, staring at the table, refusing to say a single word. Detectives had handled countless suspects before, but this silence felt different. It wasn't confusion. It wasn't shock. It was control. And in that silence, investigators feared this case might never be solved. The case began on an ordinary evening in a quiet American town, where nothing unusual ever seemed to happen. A 32-year-old man left his home and never returned. When his car was discovered abandoned near a highway the next morning, police knew something was wrong. There were no signs of a struggle, no witnesses, and no clear evidence pointing to what had happened. It was as if the man had vanished without a trace. Within 24 hours, investigators focused their attention on someone close to the victim. The suspect had been one of the last people to see him alive. On paper, it made sense. But in reality, the case was weak. There was no physical evidence, no DNA, no weapon, and no surveillance footage. Still, detectives believed the truth was hidden somewhere beneath the surface. When the suspect was brought in for questioning, he appeared calm and cooperative. He walked into the interrogation room without a lawyer, without hesitation, and without fear. At first, he answered basic questions politely. His tone was steady. His body language was relaxed. But the moment detectives began asking about the victim's disappearance, everything changed. The suspect stopped speaking completely. Minutes turned into hours. Detectives tried every known interrogation technique. They spoke gently, then firmly. They appealed to his emotions, then to logic. They offered understanding, then consequences. Nothing worked. The suspect sat in silence, barely moving, barely blinking. It was as if he had decided that silence was his shield. As the hours passed, frustration filled the room. Detectives questioned whether the suspect was mentally trained or simply confident that police had nothing on him. The silence became heavier with every passing minute. 6 hours into the interrogation, the case felt like it was slipping away. Then, something unexpected happened. A detective casually placed a photograph on the table. It wasn't evidence. It wasn't even related directly to the crime. It was a bluff, a calculated risk meant to provoke a reaction. For the first time in 6 hours, the suspect looked up, just for a moment. But that moment was enough. His breathing changed. His hands tightened. His eyes lingered on the photograph longer than they should have. Detectives immediately noticed a shift. The silence was no longer controlled. It was cracked. The room fell quiet again, but this time the tension felt different. One detective leaned forward and calmly spoke, telling the suspect that investigators already knew what had happened and that this was his chance to explain his side of the story. The suspect swallowed hard. His confidence was gone. The silence returned, but it was no longer powerful. It was fragile. After 6 hours and 12 minutes of silence, the suspect finally spoke. His voice was low and unsteady. He began to confess. He explained how panic had taken over, how one bad decision had turned into irreversible violence, and how he truly believed he had covered his tracks. What he didn't realize was that his confession revealed details only the real perpetrator could know. When investigators compared his statements with evidence that had never been disclosed, everything matched. The case that once seemed impossible to solve was suddenly clear. The confession closed the investigation and brought justice to the victim and his family. In the end, the suspect believed silence would protect him. Instead, it exposed everything, because no matter how carefully a crime is planned, the truth always finds a way out. This has been Crime Vault USA, where every crime leaves a trail, and every secret is eventually revealed.